Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitam Sya Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanajana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Vedanipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govindam Vidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noi Bija Pranam Devam Divyat Tanum Suchandavananam Balarka Shelan Shitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Shridaram Vanshakopatarubyas Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratabhishe Namah. We're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila, chapter 15, the Transcendental Madness of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Durga me Krishna bhavabdo nimagnon magna chedasa gorena harina prema maryada bhuri darshita. The ocean of ecstatic love for Krishna is very difficult to understand, even for such demigods as Lord Brahma. By enacting his pastimes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu submerged himself in that ocean, and his heart was absorbed in that love. Thus he exhibited in various ways the exalted position of transcendental love for Krishna. Jaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Adishwar, Jaya Nityananda Purnananda Kolebar. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All glories to Lord Nityananda, whose body is always filled with transcendental bliss. Jaya Dvaitacharya Krishna Chaitanya Priyatam, Jaya Srivasadi Prabhur Bhaktagan. All glories to Sri Advaitacharya, who is very dear to Lord Chaitanya, and all glories to all the devotees of the Lord, headed by Srivas Thakur. Emata Mahaprabhu Ratri Dibase Atmasvurti Nahi Krishna Bhava Veshe. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgot himself throughout the entire day and night, being merged in an ocean of ecstatic love for Krishna. Kabu Bhave Magna Kabu Ardabhaya Svurti, Kabu Bhaya Svurti Tin Rite Prabhu Stiti. The Lord would maintain himself in three states of consciousness. The Lord would maintain himself in three states of consciousness. Sometimes he merged totally in ecstatic emotion. Sometimes he was in partial external consciousness, and sometimes he was in full external consciousness. The Lord would maintain himself in three states of consciousness. Sometimes he merged totally in ecstatic emotion. Sometimes he was in partial external consciousness. And sometimes he was in full external consciousness. Snanadarshana bhojana deho svabhave hoy Kumarera Chaka Jena Sataka Firai. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always merged in ecstatic emotion, But just as a potter's wheel turns without the potter's touching it, the Lord's bodily activities like bathing, going to the temple to see Lord Jagannath, and taking lunch went on automatically. Ek din karena Prabhu Jagannatha darshan, Jagannathe deke sakat Rajendra Nandan. One day while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at Lord Jagannath in the temple, Lord Jagannath appeared to be personally Sri Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj. So the example given here of a potter's wheel is very nice. Actually, Mahaprabhu is always engaged in transcendental, deeply absorbed in transcendental emotion, in love for the Lord. But the example given, this is a potter's wheel turns without the potter's touching it. So the Lord's activities of eating and bathing and all these external things would go on automatically. And just so one day, while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking at Lord Jagannath in the temple, Lord Jagannath appeared to be personally Sri Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Ekbare Swure Prabhur Krishnera Panchagune Kore Panchendriya Akarshan. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu realized Lord Jagannath to be Krishna himself, Lord Chaitanya's five senses immediately became absorbed in attraction for the five attributes of Lord Krishna. Sri Krishna's beauty attracted the eyes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna's singing and the vibration of his flute attracted the Lord's ears. The transcendental fragrance of Krishna's lotus feet attracted his nostrils. Krishna's transcendental sweetness attracted his tongue. And Krishna's bodily touch attracted the Lord's sensation of touch. Thus, each of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's five senses was attracted by one of the five attributes of Lord Krishna. Ekman panchadike panchaguna tane tanatane prabhurmana hoila agayane. Just as in a tug of war, the single mind of Lord Chaitanya was attracted in five directions by the five transcendental attributes of Lord Krishna. Thus the Lord became unconscious. So five attributes of the Lord tugging, or because we have a comparison here of a tug of war, the five attributes of Krishna connected with the senses of Mahaprabhu. It was like a tug of war, everyone pulling in their own direction. So Mahaprabhu, as a reaction of that, he fell unconscious. Henakale Ishvarer Upalaboga Sharila Bhaktagan Mahaprabhure Gare Loya Aila. Just then, the Upabhog ceremony of Lord Jagannath concluded, and the devotees who had accompanied Lord Chaitanya to the temple took him back home. Swarup Ramananda e Duijan Loya Vilapa Korena Duhara Kandete Daria. That night, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was attended by Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy. Keeping his hands around their necks, the Lord began to lament. Krishnara biyoge radhar utkantita man vishakare kaheyapana utkantana karan. When Srimati Radharani was very agitated due to feeling great separation from Krishna, she spoke a verse to Vishaka, explaining the cause of her great anxiety and restlessness. This is Srimati Radharani in separation from Krishna speaks this verse. Say shloka pariyapane kore manastapa shlokarartha shunai duhare koreyas vilapa. Reciting that verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed his burning emotions. Then with great lamentation, he explained the verse to Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. Sondaryamrita Sindhu Bhanga Lalana Chitadri Sambhavaka Karnanandi Sanarma Ramya Vachana Kotindu Sitangaka Sorabhyamritas Sambhavavrita Jagat Piyusha Ramyadara Sri Gopendra Sutta Sa Karshati Balat Panchendriyan Yalime Sondaryamrita Sindhu Bhanga Lalana Chitadri Sambhavaka Karna Nandi Sanarma Ramya Vachana Kotindu Sitangaka Sorabhyamrita Sambhavavrita Jagat Piyusha Ramyadara Sri Gopendra Sutta Sa Karshati Balat Panchendriyanyalime. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, though the hearts of the gopis are like high-standing hills, they are inundated by the waves of the nectarian ocean of Krishna's beauty. His sweet voice enters their ears and gives them transcendental bliss. The touch of his body is cooler than millions and millions of moons together, and the nectar of his bodily fragrance overfloods the entire world. Oh, my friend, that Krishna, who is the son of Nanda Maharaj, and whose lips are exactly like nectar, is attracting my five senses by force. This verse is found in the Govinda Lilamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. Krishna Rupa Shabda Sparsha Surabhya Adara Rasa Jara Madhurya Kahanana Jai Dekilobe Panchajan Ek Ashwa Moraman Chari Pancha Pancha Dikedai. Lord Sri Krishna's beauty, the sound of his words and the vibration of his flute, his touch, his fragrance and the taste of his lips are full of an indescribable sweetness. When all these features attract my five senses at once, my senses all ride together on the single horse of my mind, but want to go in five different directions. Because all the senses are being pulled in their own direction by the attributes of Krishna. And Mahaprabhu compares it to five horses that want to go in five different directions. Very difficult. Sakye shunamora dukera karan mora panchendriyagan mahalambata dashugan sabeko he hara paradan. Oh, my dear friend, please hear the cause of my misery. My five senses are actually extravagant rogues. They know very well that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they still want to plunder Krishna's property. Ek ashva ek kane pancha pancha diketane ek mana kon dikejai ek kale sabetane gela godara parane eduka sukhan Sahana Najai, Eduka Sahana Najai. My mind is just like a single horse being ridden by the five senses of perception, headed by sight. Each of my senses wants to ride that horse, and thus they pull my mind in five directions simultaneously. In what direction will it go? If they all pull at one time, certainly the horse will lose its life. How can I tolerate this atrocity. Indriyena kare rosha iha sabar kahandosha Krishna rupadira maha akarshan rupari pancha panchetane gela godara parane moradehe na rohi jivan. My dear friend, if you say, just try to control your senses, what shall I say? I cannot become angry at my senses. Is it their fault? Krishna's beauty, sound, touch, fragrance, and taste are by nature extremely attractive. These 5 features are attracting my senses, and each wants to drag my mind in a different direction. In this way, the life of my mind is in great danger, just like a horse ridden in 5 directions at once. Thus I am also in danger of dying. Krishna Rupamrita Sindhu Tahara Taranga Bindu Ek Bindu Jagat Dubai Sri Jagate Jatanari Tara Chitta Uchagiri Tahan Duki Taha Dubai Age Uti Dai Krishna Rupamrita Sindhu Tahara Taranga Bindu Ek Bindu Jagat Dubai Sri Jagate Jatanari Tara Chitta Uchagiri Taha Dubai Age Uti Dai. The consciousness of each woman within the 3 worlds is certainly like a high hill, but the sweetness of Krishna's beauty is like an ocean. Even a drop of water from that ocean can flood the entire world and submerge all the high hills of consciousness. So those high hills of consciousness are the consciousness of each woman within the 3 worlds, certainly like a high hill. But the sweetness of Krishna's beauty is like an ocean. Even a drop of water from that ocean can flood the entire world and submerge all the high hills of consciousness. Krishna Ravachana Madhuri Nanar Rasa Narmadari Tara Anjaya Katana Najai Jagatera Narira Kane Madhuri Gune Banditane Tanatane Kanera Pranajai. The sweetness of Krishna's joking words plays indescribable havoc with the hearts of all women. His words bind a woman's ear to the qualities of their sweetness. Thus there is a tug of war, and the life of the ear departs. Krishna Anga Shushitala Kikohima Tarabala Chataya Jine Kotindu Chandan Shashaila Narira Baka Daha Akarshite Daka Akarshaye Narigana Ganagaman. Krishna Anga Shushitala Kikohimu Tarabala Chataya Jine Kotindu Chandan Shashaila Narira Baka Taha Akarshite Daka Akarshaye Nari Ganagaman. Karshaye Nari Ganaman. Krishna's transcendental body is so cool that it cannot be compared even to sandalwood pulp or to millions upon millions of moons. It expertly attracts the hearts of all women, which resemble high hills. Indeed, the transcendental body of Krishna attracts the minds of all women within the 3 worlds. Krishnanga Sorabhyabar Mridamara Marabhar Nilotpaler Hare Garvadan Jagat Nariram Masha Tara Bitara Pate Basa Nari Gane Kore Akarshan. The fragrance of Krishna's body is more maddening than the aroma of musk, and it surpasses the fragrance of the bluish lotus flower. It enters the nostrils of all the women of the world, and making a nest there, thus attracts them. Krishnara adaramrita tate karpura mandasmita swamadhurye hare narirman anyatra shadaya loba napaile mane koba brajan nare ganera muladan. Krishna's lips are so sweet when combined with the camphor of his gentle smile that they attract the minds of all women, forcing them to give up all of their attractions. If the sweetness of Krishna's smile is unobtainable, great mental difficulties and lamentation result. The sweetness is the only wealth of the gopis of Vrindaban. Krishna's lips are so sweet when combined with the camphor of his gentle smile that they attract the minds of all women, forcing them to give up all other attractions. If the sweetness of Krishna's mind is unobtainable, great mental difficulties and lamentation result. That sweetness is the only wealth of the gopis of Vrindaban. Ita kohe gorahari dui janar kantadari kohe shuna swarup ramarai kahan karun kahan jan kahan gele krishnapan duhe more kaha se upai. After speaking in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu caught hold of the necks of Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar. Thus the Lord said, "My dear friends, please listen to me. What shall I do? What shall I do? Where shall I go? Where can I go to get Krishna? Please, both of you, tell me how I can find him." After speaking in this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu caught hold of the necks of Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar. Then the Lord said, "My dear friends, please listen to me. What shall I do? Where shall I go? Where can I go to get Krishna? Please, both of you, tell me how I can find him." Emata Gora Prabhu prate dine bilapa korena Swarup Ramananda Sane. Thus absorbed in transcendental pain, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lamented day after day in the company of Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy. Say Dui Jana Prabhure Kore Ashvasan Swarup Giya Rai Kore Shloka Patana. To embrace the ecstatic world, to enhance the ecstatic mood of the Lord, Swarup Damodar Goswami would sing appropriate songs and Ramananda Roy would recite suitable verses. In this way, they were able to pacify him. So this is what's happening in Mahaprabhu's later days. To enhance the ecstatic mood of the Lord, Swarup Damodar would sing appropriate songs. Ramananda Roy would recite suitable verses. In this way, they were able to pacify him. So Swarup Damodar is singing, and Ramananda Roy is expressing some beautiful verses to enhance the Lord's mood. Karnamrita Vidyapati Sri Gita Govinda Ihara Shloka Gite Prabhur Koraya Ananda. The Lord especially liked to hear Bilva Mangal Thakur's Krishna Karnamrita, the potency of Vidyapati, and the Lord especially liked to hear Bilva Mangal Thakur's Krishna Karnamrita, the poetry of Vidyapati, and Sri Gita Govinda by Jayadev Goswami. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt great pleasure in his heart when his associates chanted verses and sang songs from these books. Ekdin Mahaprabhu samudra tire jaite pushpera ujjana tata dekena chambite. One day, while going to the beach by the sea, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suddenly saw a flower garden. Vrindavana Brahmetahan Pashiladan Premaveshe Bole Tahan Krishna Anveshya Vrindavana Brahmetahan Pashiladaya Premam Veshe Buletahan Krishna Anveshya. Lord Chaitanya mistook that garden for Vrindaban and very quickly entered it. Absorbed in ecstatic love of Krishna, he wandered throughout the garden searching for him. Rasa-lila loya Krishna antardana koila pache shaki gana jaiche chahe bedaila. After Krishna disappeared with Radharani during the rasa dance, the gopis wandered in the forest looking for him. In the same way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered in that garden by the sea. After Krishna disappeared with Radharani during the rasa dance, the gopis wandered in the forest looking for him. In the same way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered in that garden by the sea. Say Baba Beshe Prabhu Pratitar Tarulata Shloka Pade Pade Chahi Bule Jatatata. Absorbed in the ecstatic mood of the gopis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered here and there. He began to inquire after Krishna by quoting verses in all the absorbed in the ecstatic mood of the gopis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered here and there. He began to inquire after Krishna by quoting verses to all the trees and creepers. Shuta Priyala Pana Sasana Kovidara Jambarka Byova Bakulamra Kadamba Nipa Yenye Pararta Bhavaka Yamuno Pakula Samsantu Krishna Paravim Rohitat Manamna Chutapriya Panasa Sana Kovidara Jamvarka Bhuva Bakulamrita Kadambanipa Yenye Pararta Mavaka Jamuno Pakula Samsantu Krishna Paravim Rahitat Manamna. The gopis said, O Chuta tree, Priyala tree, Panasa, Asana, and Kovidara, O Jambu tree, O Arka tree, O Bel, Bakula and Mango, O Kadamba tree, O Shita. The gopi said, O Chuta tree, Priyala tree, Panasa, Asana, and Kovidara, O Jambu tree, O Arka tree, O Bel, Bakula, and mango, O Kadamba tree, O Nipa tree, and all other trees living on the bank of the Jamuna for the welfare of others, please let me know where Krishna has gone. We have lost our minds and are almost dead. So now the gopis are searching for Krishna, who disappeared from the rasa dance along with Radharani. And they're asking all the plants and trees, where has Krishna gone? Kachit tulasi kalyani govinda charana priye Sahatvali kular bibrad drishtas te tri priyojuta. O all auspicious tulasi plant, you are very dear to Govinda's lotus feet, and he is very dear to you. Have you seen Krishna walking here, wearing a garland of your leaves, surrounded by a swarm of bumblebees? Malati Adar Shiva Kadach Malati Adar Shiva Kachin Malike Jati Chutike Pritim Vo Janayan Yasha Yata Karasparshena Madhava. O plants of malati flowers, malika flowers, jati and jutika flowers, have you seen Krishna passing this way, touching you with his hand to give you pleasure? O plants of malati flowers, malika flowers, jati and jutika flowers, have you seen Krishna passing this way, touching you with his hand to give you pleasure? Amrapanasa piyala jambu kovidar tirtavasi sabekara para upakar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, O mango tree, O jackfruit tree, O piyala, jambu, and kovidara trees, you are all inhabitants of a holy place. Therefore kindly act for the welfare of others. Krishna tomara ihanaila paila darshan, Krishnera udesha kohe rakana jivan. Have you seen Krishna coming this way? Kindly tell us which way he has gone and save our lives. So this is an example of this sense of divine madness of the gopis. They're asking all the plants and trees, where has Krishna gone? Has he passed this way? This is their absorption. Gopis are asking every living entity, where has Krishna gone? In their separation, they have this sense of anxiety. Uttarana paya puna kore anuman esa purusha jati Krishna sakaram saman. When the trees did not reply, the gopis guessed, since all of these trees belong to the male class, all of them must be friends of Krishna. They're not answering it because the trees are male, so we cannot get answers from them. Ekene kohibe Krishnera udesha amai, estri jatilata amar sakipai. Why should the trees tell us where Krishna has gone? Let us rather inquire from the creepers. They are female and are therefore like friends to us. Avasya kohibe payache Krishnara darshane eta anumani puche tulasi adigane. They will certainly tell us where Krishna has gone, since they have seen him personally. Guessing in this way, the gopis inquire from the plants, creepers, the plants and creepers headed by Tulsi. Tulasi malati juti madhavi malike tomara priya Krishna aila tomara antike. O Tulasi, O Malati, O Jati, Madhavi, and Malika, Krishna is very dear to you, therefore he must have come near you. O Tulasi, O Malati, O Juti, Madhavi, and Malika, Krishna is very dear to you, therefore he must have come near you. Tumi sab khao amar sakira saman, Krishna desha kohe sabe rakaha paran. You are all just like dear friends to us. Kindly tell us which way Krishna has gone and save our lives. Uttarana paya puna bhavena antare ek Krishnadase baye na kohe amare. When they still received no reply, the gopis thought, these plants are all Krishna's maidservants, and out of fear, they will not speak to us. Age mrigigan deki Krishnanga gandapaya taramat muka deki puchena nirnoya korea. Age mrigigan deki Krishnanga gandapaya taramuka deki puchena nirnoya korea. The gopis then came upon a group of she-deer, smelling the aroma of Krishna's body and seeing the faces of the deer. The gopis inquired from them to ascertain if Krishna was nearby. The gopis then came upon a group of she-deer, smelling the aroma of Krishna's body and seeing the faces of the deer. The gopis inquired from them to ascertain if Krishna was nearby. Api ena patni upagata priya yeha gatrais tanvan drisham sakin su nirvritim achutodya bantaranga sangha kucha dukama ranjitaya kunda vraja kulapater iha bhati ganda. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, O wife of the deer, Lord Krishna has been embracing his beloved, and thus the kumkum powder on her raised breast has covered his garland of kunda flowers. The fragrance of this garland is flowing here. O my dear friend, have you seen Krishna passing this way with his dearmost companion, increasing the pleasure of the eyes of all of you? Kahamrigi Radhasaha Sri Krishna Sarvata Tamaya Sukadite Aila Nahika Anyata. O dear doe, Sri Krishna is always very pleased to give you pleasure. Kindly inform us whether he has passed this way in the company of Srimati Radharani. We think they must have come this way. Radha Priya Saki Amar Nahi Bahiranga Dira Hoite Janitara Jaichi Ek Angaganda. Radha Priya Saki Amar Nahi Bahiranga Dura Hoite Janitara Jaiche Angabganda. We're not outsiders. Being very dear friends of Srimati Radharani, we can perceive the bodily fragrance of Krishna from a distance. Radha Anga Sange Kucha Kunkuma Bhushita Krishna Kunda Mala Gande Bayu Subhasita. Krishna has been embracing Srimati Radharani, and the kumkum powder on her breast is mixed with a garland of kunda flowers decorating his body. The fragrance of the garland has scented the entire atmosphere. Krishna ihan shadigela ihan virahini kiba utara dibiye na shune kahini. Lord Krishna has left this place, and therefore the deer are feeling separation. They do not hear our words, therefore how can they reply? Age brika ganadeke pushpafalat pure. Age brika ganadeke pushpafala bare saka sab padijache pritive upare. The gopis then came upon many trees so laden with fruits and flowers that their branches were bent down to the ground. Krishna deki es sab karana namaskar Krishna Gamana Krishna Ganana Puche Tare Korea Nirdar Krishna Deke Sab Korana Namaskar Krishna Ganana Puche Tare Korea Nirdar. The gopis thought that because all the trees must have seen Krishna pass by, they were offering respectful obeisances to him. To be certain, the gopis inquired from the trees. Bahum priyamsha upadaya grihita padmo ramanujas tulasikali kular madandai anviya mana ihabas tarava pranamam kim vabinandati charan pranayavalokai. Lord Chaitanya continued, O trees, kindly tell us whether Balaram's younger brother Krishna welcomed your obeisances with loving glances as he passed this way, resting one hand on the shoulder of Srimati Radharani, holding a lotus flower in the other, and being followed by a swarm of bumblebees maddened by the fragrance of tulasi flowers. Lord Chaitanya continued, O trees, kindly tell us whether Balaram's younger brother Krishna welcomed your obeisances with loving affairs, Lord Chaitanya concluded, O trees, kindly tell us whether Balaram's younger brother Krishna welcomed your obeisances with loving glances as he passed this way, resting one hand on the shoulder of Srimati Radharani, holding a lotus flower in the other, and being followed by a swarm of bumblebees maddened by the fragrance of tulasi flowers. Priyamuke bringapade taha nivarite lila padma chalaite hoila anyachite. To stop the bumblebees from landing on the face of his beloved, he whisked them away with a lotus flower in his hand, and thus his mind was slightly diverted. To stop the bumblebees from landing on the face of his beloved, he whisked them away with the lotus flower in his hand, and thus his mind was slightly diverted. Tomara pranamiki karachena abadan kibanahi koranta kaha vachana praman. Did he or did he not pay attention while you offered him obeisances? Kindly give evidence supporting your words. Krishnera viyoge e sevaka dukitea kiba uttara dive Dara Nahika Samvit. Separation from Krishna has made these servants very unhappy. Having lost consciousness, how can they answer us? Eta Bolyage Chale Yamunara Kule Deketahan Krishna Hoy Kadamberatale. Saying this, the gopis stepped onto the beach by the Jamuna river. There they saw Lord Krishna beneath a kadamba tree. Koti manmata mohana murali badan apara sondarye hare jaganetraman. Standing there with his flute to his lips, Krishna, who enchants millions upon millions of cupids, attracted the eyes and minds of all the world with his unlimited beauty. Sondarya dekiya bhume pade morchapaya Henakale Swarupare Mililasya. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the transcendental beauty of Krishna, he fell down on the road unconscious. At that time, all the devotees, headed by Swarup Damodar Goswami, joined him in the garden. So I'm going to stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue. I know I repeated a lot of verses, but I did that so because sometimes it's hard for me to properly pronounce, even if that's possible for me, but the transcendental Sanskrit, Bengali principally, but also Sanskrit, the Bengali poetry. This verse is expressing Mahaprabhu's madness, and in doing so, all the verses are in the form of beautiful sounding poetry, but unfortunately I don't know how to pronounce that beautiful poetry, the sounds, because it's in very poetic Bengali, and it's hard for me to say that. So sometimes I repeated the verses, and even then I can't say I pronounce everything very well, but I'm trying to convey what is the beauty of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, although failingly I admit, but that's my intention. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Jaravaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Karadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Karadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Raghunath Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raghunath H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jahoite Vignana Shabista Puran Jahoite Vignana Shabista Puran H.I. Gosai Jarmui Taradas H.I. Gosai Jarmui Taradas Tasavara Para Renu Mora Panchagras Tasavara Para Renu Mora Panchagras Tadir Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Tadir Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame Janame More Abhilas Janame Janame More Abhilas H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Padman Jaiyaman, Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas, Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas, Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas, Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhara Jo Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai, Tulasi Madharani Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Shri Vrindaban Dham Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan, Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, all the assembled devotees Ki Jai, Gaur Brahmanande Hari Hari Bo.
Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj ki jai.